Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about how stress, which that and anxiety and depression will lead to stop the growth. Stop the growth of the muscle and stop the strength of the bone and strength of the muscle, as well as the brain ability will be stopped. So how it is possible? Let's understand about that. Basically, when you will go into the stress in this way, you will enter into the sympathetic nervous system activation. So the autonomic nervous system is two type. Involuntary, you will not control itself via activity, so it can be activate via external stimulus or internal stimulus like inflammation and the disease, a lot more things which that trigger the sympathetic nervous system, and parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. So far is an example the angina and the arrhythmia of the heart, which that will lead to increase the sympathetic nervous system. That is the disease. So on the other hand, the stress and anxiety and depression stimulate the sympathetic nervous system activation, and the sympathetic nervous system activation will lead to stimulate the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. This norepinephrine will target to the different tissue like adipose tissue. So the lipolysis will occur initially and will lead to increase the free fatty acid and glycerol in your blood. But this is for short term stress is not a problem. But the chronic stress will lead to cause inflammation and even stop the growth of your muscle. And that is why that is the problem. So how to fix that? We will understand. And what is that? We will understand now. So basically, whenever you will go into the sympathetic nervous system, the fight and flight response. This is the catabolic activity. In this way, the catabolism will start due to the initial sympathetic nervous system involved through neuron, and then the chronic stress and the chronic sympathetic nervous system activation due to the response of the stress, like a lot of problem in the about the future, the job problem, or your goal problem that your goal is not achieving. So that is all these things. So in this way, you will basically activate the sympathetic nervous system, and in this way, the endocrine hormone secretion will occur. So in this way, let's understand about after the minor sympathetic nervous system activation to the chronic stress response. So in this, the chronic stress will lead to activate the hypothalamus from the higher brain cortex to target through a limbic system. So in this way, the emotion will be changed, will trigger the hypothalamus. In this way, the hypothalamus will target to the adenohypophysis through a adenocorticotropic releasing factor, which that stimulate the adenocorticotropic hormone. This adenocorticotrophin hormone will target to the adrenal gland, which that are present in your kidney. So both two glands. So in this, the adrenal gland stimulate the cortisol, and this cortisol is basically the combination of cortisol and norepinephrine. So in this way, the vasoconstriction will occur. On the other hand, the catabolism will occur. The cortisol inhibit the insulin function, but the cortisol trigger the glucagon production. But the cortisol also trigger the gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis and the lipolysis. In this way, the free fatty acid and the lipids will enter into your blood, will lead to cause low density lipoprotein. So remember, the gluconeogenesis why will not occur? It means the production of glucose from the fat is not possible because it is the anabolic path. So in this way, the anabolism will stop. So in this way, the gluconeogenesis will not process. Remember that thing. And the ketogenesis is also the part of the catabolism. So in this way, the ketogenesis will not trigger because it is required the fasting. So anyhow, whenever you will rise the cortisol, and in this way, cortisol will inhibit the growth hormone, somatostatin. And in this way, the growth hormone is anabolic, so the stop. In this way, the growth hormone is important for the target of the bone density, muscle formation, brain memory, brain function, and the neurogenesis, neuroplasticity due to the IGF. Also, one stimulation, glycogenesis, as well as the lipolysis. Basically, the lipolysis is important for the synthesis of cholesterol. Cholesterol synthesis is the anabolic, so the cortisol will inhibit it because the cortisol is the catabolic. So the anabolism due to the growth hormone will trigger the cholesterol synthesis through HMG-CoA enzyme. And in this way the cholesterol will rise, and in this way the basically when cholesterol will rise will function in the different type of cells in the plasma membrane, and cholesterol also synthesis the testosterone and estrogen for female, and that go into the several tissue. When that go into the several tissue to develop as a feminine or masculine on the basis of the gender. So in this way, basically, it is also important as a growth factors. So the testosterone bind with the growth factor, and testosterone binding protein will lead to become a transcription factor and translate that protein, which that is important for like for male myosin adapting. In this way, the anabolism will be stopped due to the cortisol will inhibit the growth hormone, and that is the problem. So remember, in this way, the basically the growth hormone will stop, and in this way, the cortisol will rise, will lead to catabolism, and that catabolism will rise the glucose due to the glycogenolysis from the liver. So the glucagon also target to the several tissue like adipose tissue, lead to rise the free fatty acid, but the inhibition of the beta oxidation and the consumption of the fat. But initial time the cortisol will rising during the early time, during the morning time, you should rise the cortisol. That is the beneficial because it will lead to give the alertness, more attentive, focus on your work, and even the more exercise. So during the exercise, the cortisol should be rise but decline during the rest time. So that is important things you should need to understand. Basically, it will rise during the morning time, but during the recovery time, it should be decreased. Whenever you will go into the sleep, so the cortisol will not drop. When cortisol will not drop, so in this way, the growth hormone will not trigger. When growth hormone will not trigger, the lipolysis will not occur. Even the lipolysis, if occurring, so due to the cortisol, so from the glucagon, so the glucagon function for lipolysis, but the lipolysis will not work, not synthesis of cholesterol, and not a form of gluconeogenesis, because the gluconeogenesis is the anabolic process from free fatty acid to synthesis of the glucose and go enter into the blood. Whenever you will eat food, so already blood sugar will be rise due to the glycogenolysis to enter the blood, but not enter the glucose into the blood, but not using, not consuming the glucose. In this way, the basically your glucose is not using. So in this way, the growth hormone is not producing, and insulin already producing will lead to target more in the adipose tissue, lead to drain all glucose into the adipose tissue. In this way, the again adiposity, adipose tissue formation will occur. So in this way, the basically during the sleep time, you will not recover due to not growth hormone release, and in this way that uncomfortability during the sleep, during the night time. So that is why. In this way, you can stop these things due to the exercise more and more, lead to consume more cortisol via alertness and weightlifting, running, walking, and stretching. So that will lead to use that cortisol whenever you will go into the rest. So you tired and break down your muscle will lead to recovery time. So the muscle requires the growth hormone. In this way, the growth hormone will develop, produce from the pituitary gland and target to the several tissue for glycogenesis and the glycogenesis formation, cholesterol synthesis, even the lipolysis for the cholesterol synthesis and the testosterone production, and that will lead to build the muscle, grow the myofiber, and in this way you will grow. So that is why the exercise and diet, good diet, high protein containing diet, rather than consuming of the glucose, and low caloric diet, Even you can fasting, so the one day fasting and one day eating, you can recover your growth hormone and increase the growth hormone when the fat will be decreased due to the growth hormone improve. So in this way, the low degree inflammation, which that will lead to chronically function, cause many disease, will decrease. In this way, you can get the more benefit, and that is why the basically it can be reversible. So I hope you make sense about that. In this video, we have discussed about the how the stress will lead to inhibit the growth, while the stress will basically trigger the inflammation and the adiposity, and how to reverse it. That is basically simple way: the high nutrient diet, like micronutrient rich diet containing macromolecules, and micromolecule should be like vitamin and mineral, which that is important. And in this way you can basically function your body well. On the other hand, sleep, 8 hours sleep is important for normal function of your body physiology. And on the other hand, the exercise, hard exercise will give the injury, and injury which that injury recovery require the growth hormone, and in this the growth hormone automatically release even when you will sleep. So that is why, and fasting is too much important for rise the growth hormone and suppress the insulin, because cortisol also trigger the insulin. That is why insulin will lead to trigger the adipose tissue formation. So that is why. I hope you make sense about that. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. For this time, bye. I am also making the handwritten tutorial about the biomedical science. If you want to learn a lot of knowledge, if you are a biomedical student or other, so you can watch that and give the comment. I am also making the handwritten tutorial more about the physiology and other biology. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video. For this time, bye. Allah Hafiz.